Abraham Lincoln was born on February 12, 1809, in a small log cabin in the western frontier of Kentucky and Indiana.
Hi, guys.
Lincoln was largely self-educated, and he spent most of his life working to support his family. He taught himself law and passed the bar exam in 1836. He worked as a lawyer for small residents and large parties. He worked in Illinois and became part of the Whig Party. Lincoln was elected to the Illinois House of Representatives, where he served for 8 years. He was later elected to the United States House of Representatives in 1846. He promoted modernization of the economy and opposed the oncoming Mexican-American War. He returned to Illinois after a single term and continued law. In 1845, after being in law for some time, Lincoln re-entered politics. He became president in the year of 1860. After the election of Lincoln, before he entered the White House, several states seceded from the Union and formed what's commonly known as the Confederate States, launching the beginning of the Civil War. He felt it was his sacred duty as President of the United States to preserve the Union at all costs. On January 1st, 1863, Lincoln issued his famous Emancipation Proclamation that only freed the slaves in the southern states where Lincoln's forces had no control, changing the tenor of the war and making it, from the northern point of view, a fight both to preserve the Union and to end slavery. One of Lincoln's best remembered speeches was after the Battle of Gettysburg in November of 1863. It was one of the most costly battles in the Civil War. Now we go to an expert on the topic of Gettysburg Address, McKenna Brown.
The Gettysburg Address was a dedication of Soldiers National Cemetery, a cemetery for Union soldiers killed at the Battle of Gettysburg. It was Lincoln's way to explain and honor what had happened at Gettysburg that day. It came from his heart. As he looked out at all the dead, he said as follows: 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation. Here Lincoln is saying that years ago our country was started on this continent. He goes on, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. We are brought together in freedom and equality. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived. So now we're fighting to test which nation that is beholding and dedicated can win, and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on the great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. So he's saying we are here to dedicate the small place for those who died fighting that one day our nation might thrive. It's altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. So naturally it's respectful that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. But if you actually think about it, we cannot dedicate, purify, or hallow the ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. So the ones who have actually died on the battlefield have purified it more than our power can. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. So the world may not remember what we say here, but they'll never forget the sacrifice the soldiers gave here. It's for us the living, rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who have fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. So it's for the living to be dedicated to their unfinished work that they have strived so well to do. It's for us to be dedicated to what comes next for our country. It's rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that the government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from the earth. So we will work as hard as we can to get done what they could not, and that this new nation shall be different from the last, and our government will change to fit the people, and it shall not be taken from the earth in any way.
After the Civil War, in Lincoln's second term, he was assassinated by a man of the name of John Wilkes Booth in Ford's Theater on the night of April 14, 1865. Abraham Lincoln was shot point blank in the head with a pistol. Now we hear from a professional on the matter, KJ Hallett.
Lincoln was killed on April 14, 1865, at Ford's Theater. It was actually originally part of a bigger plot to kidnap Lincoln, and then once the war ended, the plot was changed to kill Lincoln.
Jackson, return us. The South is avenged.
John Wilkes Booth had the help of 3 other people. George P. Atzerodt was going to kill Vice President Andrew Jackson, but he got drunk and wussed out at the last moment. David Harold was his guide and helped Booth escape through the back of the theater and out to the south where he would have more support. Lewis Powell was to kill Secretary of State William Seward, but only stabbed him and he did not die. All of them were killed just a few weeks later. Harold and Booth were shot in a barn they were hiding in. Lewis Powell was hanged along with Mary Surratt, George P. Atzerodt, and other accomplices.
Yeah, Abraham, he went through the ringer.
Hey, look
Not
up.
like that.
What?
Don't break the bush. No, be classy.
No. I'm not stuck. I just can't emerge. Yeah, chest is fun. Okay,
Ooh,
I
that's
can do
Stefan?
Just run. Just sprint out.
That was weak.
that. Oh, my shirt's stuck.
Just take your time.
Just break free,
Spends
emerge.
half the time
Can I say that in a school project?
Oh,
I'm dying.
He's limping. He's
Is that-
dying.
Okay.
14th. Language. This is for a school project.
Hi guys.